Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live edition of the Market Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined by Daniel Hernandez, Chad Big Bad Johnson, and James Casanti, who is incredibly enthusiastic tonight. If you can't tell by the armbands, but we will get there eventually, James. Let's start at the top of a very, very packed Dynamite. Chris Jericho's opening promo comes out, invites Eddie Kingston to come and have Jericho shake his hand. And after a very impassioned promo from Eddie, in which he gave a lot of vulnerabilities, talking about how he wanted to go and drink and not show up on Sunday until he met a few fans at FanFest who told him that they didn't end their lives because of Eddie. He decided that he had to show up and win that match for them. Eddie also said that Chris not shaking Eddie's hand was a Chris problem, not an Eddie problem. And then Jericho eventually shook Kingston's hand. But that wasn't the important part of the promo. The important part was shortly after this 2.0 with Daniel Garcia came down to jump the two of them. And we're winning until Santana and Ortiz showed up with Floyd and seemingly turned the tables. And with 2.0 outside of the ring and Garcia in Santana's grasp, instead of hitting Garcia, Jericho hit Santana with Floyd and turned on Santana and Ortiz and Eddie Kingston, joining 2.0 and Garcia in the beatdown. Jake Hager came out, looked very unsure of what to do, and eventually joined Jericho as well. And Jericho ended the segment after Hager put Eddie through a table with a powerbomb off the apron by declaring the new faction the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Boo!
Which is a brilliant name. But there was a lot that went on there, James, and since you seem to have the most energy tonight, let's start with you. This made me sad, to say the least. I loved the Inner Circle. I love Santana and Ortiz. I was kind of hoping, should the Inner Circle go their separate ways, it would be more amicable, and I just did not fucking get that one iota.
Nope. I'm sad because it definitely feels like the end of an era for AEW, but I'm happy because I think a lot of these guys now are going to thrive in these new situations. I think Santana and Ortiz are no longer going to be in the backseat to anybody, not even if they do partner with Eddie Kingston. I don't think they're going to be in the backseat to Eddie Kingston. 2.0, who have been amazing in the roles they've been in, have been directionalists. They are not guys to steer the ship. They are great as part of an act, which is why they work well with Garcia, but they need a direction, and Jericho can provide that. Hager's gonna Hager, I guess. Good for him. And, if anybody's really going to benefit from this, it's Daniel Garcia, because he's now going to be under the tutelage of Chris Jericho. We all were thinking he was going to be under the tutelage of Bryan Danielson, but this isn't really that bad of a step down in terms of mentors. So I think everybody here is going to succeed. I think everybody here is just got freshened up. I hate the name. I hate, what is it? The Jericho Appreciation Society.
Yep.
Awful. Just awful. But everything else, I love it. I'm good for everybody involved.
Yeah, I think I would declare the mentor role for Garcia as more of a lateral move from Bryan to Jericho.
I mean, I would disagree, but it's not that. It's very like it's like 1 to 2, in terms. It's like an S tier mentor to an A tier mentor. There is nobody better than Bryan Danielson. I'm sorry.
All right, fair enough. But I do think he now kind of ends up in the original Sammy Guevara role in the Inner Circle, where he's the young guy that this group is going to help build into a new star. So I look forward to see what happens there. Chad, this Santana Ortiz getting the piss kicked out of them like this hurt me. I think you are probably the other huge Santana Ortiz fan on the show.
Huge.
And it sucks to see Jericho turn on them like this. At least, I know I'm getting worked, but I'm so disappointed.
No, I agree. They've been getting the shit kicked out of them for literal months now almost. So that's disheartening. Other than that, I'm with James. It's a great move for all players involved. We get Hill Jericho. I think everybody kind of wants that if he's not going to be, fighting every week, which is better. Even though I must admit he is actually in great shape now as opposed to what he was before. End of a legacy, as you guys said. Speaking of Sammy, what the hell happens with Sammy now? I mean,
Sammy's been out of the inner circle for the last month or so, and
right.
Truth be told, it's probably for the best, so he could just be done with all of those shenanigans, right?
But now with no
he
title,
he also quit. So,
well, he didn't quit the second time. He just said, "I've quit before. I can quit again."
Right,
and then he never showed up again. Yeah, I took that as a quitting.
Yeah, he was like, until you straighten your shit out, and now they clearly aren't.
Can you imagine you go to your job, your 9 to 5, and you just say, I quit before and I could quit again, and then you just leave and then don't show up for a month? You quit. You're gone.
A leave of absence.
I mean, I'd like to know what kind of job, takes you back after the first time you quit like that, but
Apparently Planet Fitness, but I don't know.
Yikes.
I just have friends who worked at Planet Fitness and have quit. I know, it's a weird one to pull out, but I know it's real.
And
I mean, I'm literally one of those people. So.
Also, Jake Hager is trash.
I would never want to watch Jake Hager on his own. He fits a very distinct role, and he does it well. He is the heavy, he is the heater of a group. He can take any loss and it'll be fine. He's there to literally make Jericho look tougher. And that's fine. But yeah, I agree. I never need to see Jake Hager on his own.
Yeah. Bring back Jack Swagger or something.
Well, no more We the People, but
not from
Danny,
him.
Danny, this is everyone's been saying, it's a real shift and an end of an era, because Inner Circle has been rolling for the 3+ years of AEW. Now it's over, and Jericho is right back in another heel faction. So what do you think, besides building up guys like Garcia and 2.0, what do you think their future is beyond the immediate stuff of Proud and Powerful and Eddie?
I mean, I don't think there's any long-term plans for the future. I think this is all short-term, just to put Jericho in a new direction. I don't know who they would even feud with after. Hey, maybe they feud with Brian and Moxley's stable if they, get some people under them and they try to win over Daniel Garcia or something. I don't know. But
Daniel Garcia custody on a pole match. Book it.
Yeah. Oh God,
that'll be great, bro. It'll sell so many seats, bro. Come on, bro. Book it, bro.
Great impression. Fantastic.
Thank you. It's the beard. It's the beard.
Yeah, it really is. Bro. But yeah, I'm liking this for 2.0 specifically because they're just the funniest Canadian New Yorkers I've ever seen in my life. They're great. Danny Garcia's fine. He's good. He'll win me over more eventually, I'm sure. But yeah, I love this for 2.0. I don't know how long this lasts, but I think it's good. The Inner Circle had not overstayed its welcome because they did kind of go off in their own directions, but I think it's okay that we're now closing this chapter of the Inner Circle and everyone else can move on to bigger and better things.
Eric would say finally.
He probably would.
I could say finally. It's not.
He would absolutely say finally.
I don't think they overstayed their welcome, but I think at the same time, them constantly being involved with each other kind of did. You know what I mean? There was just too much, especially for Santana and Ortiz, and this was part of the storyline here, where it was too much coming to Jericho's defense, and not enough, hey, Santana Ortiz, we're going to, back you going for the titles, or Sammy, we're going to back you going for the TNT title, or whatever it was. It was always just, hey, Jericho needs help because he's beefing with whomever. And it was hindering a lot of these guys. And like I said before, I'm upset they just didn't go their separate ways and break up, peacefully. But, now a lot of these guys are going to be able to get to do different things. Proud and Powerful hopefully wins a tag championship in the near future. That'd be nice. Sammy's got his own stuff going on now. We'll get to that later. And, Jericho and Hager are going to be running with this new stable. So there it is. But so let's move on here. So we had a quick post-fight punk promo from Sunday, which was pretty cool, I thought. Bloody in the back of an ambulance, or sitting at the back of the ambulance. And then after that, we had Hangman Adam Page versus Dante Martin for the AEW Championship. Okay. This is a bit of a surprise announcement from Tony Khan, who was just dropping surprise announcements all day today. Like, he announced this at like 5:30 in the afternoon, from at least I think that's when the tweet was. But this was a fun match. Hangman came out again with the colorful vest, which for those of you who watch BTE, they had a bit of a tease with the Bucks with it. Also, they're still in Florida, so between that and the pant tassels, fuck that new bill they have going through. Gay,
gay, gay, gay, gay, gay, gay, gay, gay, gay, gay, gay, gay, gay, gay, gay.
This match was cool, but I thought the finishing sequence was sublime. That led to the buckshot lariat, all the flipping and everything on the outside, eventually leading to Dante taking the pin. After the match, Tony Schiavone, who they put him through the fucking ringer tonight, but Page called Dante back down, said that he's one of the hardest hitting and quickest guys he's ever faced. He'd love to run it back. After Page briefly spoke with Schiavone, Adam Cole came out, challenged Page to a 6-man tag next week on Dynamite, and said he will not rest until he beats Page for the title. Now, in that, Cole also teased his partners, saying that there were a couple of young men that Page knew very well. And we all...
He's not wrong. He wasn't lying.
He wasn't. We all assumed it was the Bucks, though. But we will get to that. But then, not an impromptu title match, but pretty damn close, at least by AEW standards. So we have both what I thought was a cool match, to help put Dante over. And now we have the continuation of Page versus Cole.
Yeah, so I completely agree with what you said about the finishing sequence of this match. I thought it was so good. Just a great series of counters and just fantastic stuff. But I got to agree with Mr. Naz NYC in the crowd that, in the chat, that the crowd was not the best. This wasn't my favorite crowd. They didn't have the best reactions. There was one point, like when Hangman was going right before that sequence, when Hangman was going for the buckshot and Dante grabbed his leg and the crowd was just like booing, and I'm like, who are you booing in this exchange? I don't understand. But whatever. Great match. I'm not big on the Cole stuff continuing. I really didn't like any of that. Because we'll get to it later, but like Brick said in their promo, it's how come you're not going to the back of the line? Like, why is this still continuing? He won pretty clean. There's no I don't know. Maybe it's just something to hold over until the next contender is ready to start their program. But I wasn't a fan of any of the post match stuff, honestly. Besides giving Dante props, which he deserves, but.
Yeah, I don't know how long this Cole shit's going to go, because it's not going to go to the next pay-per-view, obviously.
Definitely not.
Obviously not. And I don't necessarily know what other big shows they have coming up, like AEW. Like, I know they have St. Patrick's Day Slam next week, and they're doing the 6-man tag there, but they could do another, Cole Page match on TV and do it at one of those big shows, whether it's like Fyter Fest or something like that. Or do it out on the West Coast, since those shows are going to probably be pretty big. But I think this is more for the continuation of the Cole, Bucks, and Red Dragon storyline. And Page seems to now be a part of that, especially with this BTE tease. So I guess we'll see what happens with it, James. But for now, we're stuck with it until they decide to end it. Not that it's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad. It depends on how it goes before I'll say if it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing.
True.
We're gonna let it play out. first things first, great showing by Dante Martin. Great match between the two. I'm happy that now we're a year out from Dante being a single star because his brother was gone and his brother's back. They didn't just throw him back in the tag team and forget about everything he accomplished as a single star. They gave him props for being number 2 in the rankings. He had his title match. And truth be told, maybe that's why it felt so random and they did it so quickly. They wanted to acknowledge it before he went off into the tag team division, which cool. I'm all for.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I loved Hangman giving him the props because Hangman was the young guy who needed that guidance once upon a time. He needed the veterans to give him the love, the appreciation, and he's paying it forward now. Love that. I agree about the Adam Cole stuff. I think this is the first instance of a failed challenger getting a second shot right out the gate. I don't necessarily mind it because Cole is a heel and they are, I guess, now establishing that just because if you're that high in the rankings, just because you lose doesn't mean you go to the bottom of the rankings, which in its own way does make sense. I also just don't mind because it feels like they need to kill a little bit of time before they get to Hangman's next big challenger.
Who do you think it will be? Like Nas asked in the chat.
Who do I think he'll be his next contender, the next big contender? As long as it's not Lance Archer.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be anybody. I think it needs to be a heel that is going to challenge Hangman more physically than mentally, because I think we've had a lot of those mental challenges with Bryan and now Cole, and that's going to continue. So who knows? Maybe
MJF.
I don't think we're there yet. I think we're like another mid challenge and then MJF. But who knows? Maybe if this Cole feud goes long enough and MJF is done fucking with Wardlow, because spoiler alert, that's gonna happen next week, guys.
Yep.
Maybe Chad, you're right.
I have a hot take that I'll.
I want it. I want it.
It's not.
Cool.
I know it's a Wardlow hot take, so we'll
It's a warm take, really.
But I think the reason they're doing this Cole thing is to just buy some more time, because I do think a lot of his top contenders are busy right now. MJF is going to be busy with Wardlow. Moxley, who could be a contender, is currently, with Bryan and Regal, which we'll get to right after this. I mean, Jericho is going to be busy for a bit.
Punk's not busy.
I mean, I think he needs a blood transfusion first. I think he needs maybe drink some red wine. I mean, I know he's straight edge, but I don't know. I think he needs to replenish some fluids.
He needs
take in some electrolytes. Yes. Seriously. But yes, Punk should be waiting in the wings.
Yeah. And I think Jericho, we discussed this before. Jericho would be a fun challenger for Hangman in the short term, just because it was the original title match, and Hangman getting that win back would be cool. But
he's a heel now. He's a heel now too. So,
but I think he's going to be busy, at least in the short term. So drawing out this Cole stuff a bit more allows them to free up other guys in the meantime. Get them done with their shit, Chad, and then allow them into the title picture.
Right. First, I have to give a kudos to the match. I think the match was short and sweet, but it was fun. The real winner here was clearly Dante Martin. I mean, he can do anything. That guy can fly. So the props afterwards, post match, was wonderful. I'm with you guys. I guess. I'm not tired of it because we've only seen it once, but I'm a little weary of the antics from Cole. Like, if you're going for the title, it's obvious that they are, what you guys said, spreading the time out when they're doing a 6-man tag match next week instead of just another title match. So that was kind of obvious. I did think Cole was going to do one participant from Red Dragon and one Buck.
I really did too.
I was kind of hoping for that, but we didn't get it. Whatever.
Oh yeah, that promo made no sense. Like
right.
It wasn't a good, because it wasn't, it was obvious setup that it was, a misdirect and it wasn't going to be the Bucks. but it wasn't a good misdirect. I don't think. Sorry, Chad. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I totally agree.
I'm going to interrupt you too, Chad, and I'm sorry.
Wow, what a jerk.
Only me. I do think that in kayfabe, I think Cole intended for the Bucks to be his partner. But then when they rejected him halfway through speaking,
he got defensive and he was like, "Oh, I was always going to pick."
Exactly.
Sure, I can buy that.
And I think if he had it his way, he would love to fuck with Hangman that way mentally. But it didn't go that way. So he, being the little chicken shit prick heel that he is, I mean, Adam Cole, the heel, is all those things. So I think,
literally,
yeah, I think that's why he pivoted and it felt the way it did. That's why it felt so weird, but it works if you think about it.
In hindsight, it does actually.
Yeah.
And like you said, we're not completely tired of it. It's just kind of out of nowhere. So yeah. I'm with you. We'll give it time to breathe.
Not tired of it. Just don't want it again yet.
Immediately now, right? But that's why we're getting a 6-man tag match, Danny. How could you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I when I say immediately, I mean like in the next month. I don't want this match at least.
Well, I have a conspiracy why that's happening, but later.
Okay. I think AEW does this so infrequently that where the challenger who lost immediately appears to be getting another shot and the feud continuing, at least with the title.
Twice in one night.
They really did.
It's not wrong.
And it was handled so differently in both situations. Like one is commended and one is viewed poorly, but we're just going to accept it.
But it does happen infrequently, especially with the title. Like, obviously, you'll have feuds of pay-per-view matches continue. Like, MJF and Punk kept going. MJF and Jericho went way too long. There are feuds that continue just after one big match. But it happens so infrequently with, especially the AEW Championship, that it's almost surprising now that we're having it again. And so I don't know. I guess we'll see. We're probably going to get it. What is this? Probably in April would be my guess.
Most likely
at the latest.
Most likely.
So they'll let it breathe for a bit. They'll let the pay-per-view match breathe for a bit. We're gonna run it back, and I presume Hangman retains, and then by then maybe Jericho's freed up, MJF's freed up if they want to pull the trigger on MJF there.
Did we talk about the fact that next week he's not wrestling with Dark Order? He's going to be wrestling with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
I was going to get to that, but we can skip to that segment. So this was right after the Danielson and Moxley match, which we'll go over in a minute. But Dark Order was backstage for an interview with Marvez, who asked them what their relationship with Hangman was after both Hangman just shoved Reynolds during their pay-per-view match, and he was a little cold to them on being the Elite, for those of you who watch it. So Hangman then came over before they could even answer and apologized. He said he was heated. Reynolds still seemed very pissed off. And then John Silver asked who Hangman would be tagging with next week against Cole. And at that time, we all thought it was going to be the Bucks. Now, obviously, it's Red Dragon. And Hangman said when he was coming back from the ring, he ran into Jurassic Express, who said they wanted another piece of the Bucks. And he was put in an awkward situation and said yes to them, which the Dark Order seemed a little upset with. But so, yeah, he will not be teaming with the Dark Order. And there's some dissension there now, James.
I don't know if it's dissension yet, but it's definitely disappointment.
Better word.
They looked like buddies who were left behind. They look like buddies who, like they're ride or die, but he's riding away. It's like the end of Fast and the Furious 7. Hangman's going in one direction and they're driving off into the sun, or he's driving off into the sunset and he's going in the other direction. I will always drop a Fast and the Furious reference, Danny, and I don't even feel bad about it. But anyway.
I was going to do a very tasteless joke, but carry on.
Do it.
I know what it is. Don't.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Not going to do it.
Man.
South Park rules. We have to wait 17 and a half years. But anyway, it feels like I don't want to think that maybe they're teasing the Hangman heel turn, because him teaming up with the Bucks should be a babyface moment. It shouldn't be a heel moment, especially because the Bucks seem like they're so upset with Cole and Red Dragon that it feels like they should turn over to the good side as opposed to him turning over to the dark side. But I don't know. It's a weird dynamic. I don't know if I'm ready for a heel Hangman, but I wouldn't be shocked if they go in that direction sooner than later, because maybe they're afraid they don't want to spend, like, they're going to suck up all the juice out of the babyface in him. So I don't know. I don't know what the Dark Order does without him, though. And I think that's the scarier thing. He has been like their lightning rod for any and all storylines. And I'm not saying they're incapable of running stories without him. I think they very much can, but they need a Brody Lee. They need a Hangman. And if he's gone, I don't know who takes in that role next.
Yeah, it does suck, because even there was those few weeks there, or even like I guess a month or so, where Hangman wasn't interacting with the Dark Order, and they were just languishing. Like they were barely on TV. I guess they were on Dark and Elevation and stuff. Like they weren't doing shit, Danny, and that's disappointing because I love seeing them on TV.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's I just like seeing Silver on TV. And everyone else is just neat, you know. But I hadn't even thought of Hangman turning heel and all this. I've kind of just assumed the Bucks would turn face, which, you know, it's not. I guess it's been over a year since they turned heel, so that's fine. I don't like the idea of Hangman turning heel during his title reign. That'll.
Yep.
I'll have strong opinions on it if it happens, but
Yep.
I'm not gonna get mad about this hypothetical right now.
It'll be the first instance, though, because every champion we've had, I mean,
Bucks did it. The Bucks turned heel.
True, but I meant world champion. But you're right. You are right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I figured you meant world champion, but I don't know. I wouldn't like it to be Hangman, because that feels like almost an admission of failure. But there's no failure here because Hangman's been a success story.
Yeah.
No, I'm the guy who's saying his title reign should have ended a month ago, and I stand by that. But it's been good. Like he's still over. You know, the crowd in Florida, of course, are going to be a little bit behind Adam Cole. That's not an insult. It's just because NXT. I couldn't insult Florida for a lot of reasons, as we've already done a little bit. But like, you know, of course they're going to like. I don't know. I don't like the idea of a heel Hangman, but
Feels dirty.
Right now, it's too soon. Especially I'd rather him turn heel because he's down on his luck and he's given in to, like, you know, the darkness or like the shitty things going on in his life. I'd rather him lose everything and then have like a reason for turning heel and changing his character. So I'd rather the Bucks turn face in this scenario. But
I would too.
But yeah, you know, that's cool. I'm more interested in Hangman and the Bucks versus the Disputed Era, like, than I am Kenny and the Bucks right now, honestly, because I don't want Kenny to be a face when he comes back.
Oh, you're gonna be disappointed.
You know? I'm expecting that, but like, I don't know. To me, it feels better with like Hangman and the Bucks like fully making up after the interaction during the Kenny match. You know, like,
yeah,
that feels more satisfying to me, seeing Hangman and the Bucks face Cole and Red Dragon.
I don't want to interrupt you, but we've had a couple of comments in the chat about Kenny and when he's coming back and he's going to be the wild card and all this. Let's just clarify. We don't know when Kenny is coming back. All reports from Kenny and all these insiders are leading us to believe we're a way off from the Kenny Omega return. He said that this was, I think, just a couple weeks ago. He still needs to have surgery and he hasn't had the hernia surgery. I don't know what he's waiting for. Like,
probably trying to just heal one thing at a time. Trying to rehab multiple things at a time is a bitch.
I know, Kenny, your body, your choice, but I am begging you to get surgery because I need you to come back, like, really quickly. Like,
honestly, if we didn't see Kenny till like December, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Even like next year, like it wouldn't shock me at all.
I need you to shut up and never say that again. I love you. I love you, but
no, I know. I just don't think he's gonna be back for a while. Which
Danny James is riding high right now.
I know.
Like
I had to bring him down a little bit, but no, Dan, I think you're right. I think this plays into the Hung Bucks getting back together much more because Kenny's just not around. He's not there to influence them one way or the other. So they're gonna make their own decisions. And at this point, going back to Hangman, even if it's just because they're pissed at Adam or Adam Cole and he turns on them along with Red Dragon, yeah, it makes sense. So
I'm gonna call it right now. The Bucks reunite with Hangman, turn face. The Dark Order turns heel. Like that kind of faction is supposed to be. Besides Silver, it's really not that big a deal for them to turn heel. Silver's the over one.
Evil Uno is the most lovable person in the world, and I don't know how you can say that.
He was giving Elden Ring reviews during a battle royal. Like
he is a gem of a human being.
But he is evil.
Very evil. Very nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think we've gotten a chat on this yet. We've
been
not yet. So long about it. But,
Chad, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, we've all been bouncing around here. But Chad, do you foresee anything here? Heel turn, face turn? What the fuck's gonna happen?
Okay, so this is what I'm hoping, just in a fantasy. I do notice the slight heel antics, which I dislike. I'm not going to go too far into it because, as we said, it's a hypothetical. But I'm hoping it's more of maybe even with the championship, he can reach rock bottom, but still be a face. Kind of maybe a reminder of what his friends are for and who they are and all he's gone through to make the story, I guess, more complex. That would make the reign look better. You bring the history up, you get the Bucks to turn face, and then everybody's, I know it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but I don't want him to go heel because I want what I want. And that's not a heel Hangman. I don't need that right now.
You're a man who knows what you want, and I respect that.
And he's still so over as a face. I just don't see the point of turning him heel in the near future.
All right. I will say, I said it the night of, and I'm going to say it again tonight. He kind of got a little booed at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, but it's Cole.
Of course, but
it was in Orlando.
Cole got Gargano booed when Gargano was like the biggest face, and
that's true.
That other show.
And that is why I would like Cole away from Hangman soon, like now, like whatever.
Well, they really haven't made it easy on Hangman, have they? Like Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, two of the most like beloved guys on any roster, and they're really just making Hangman go through it.
And then if they do CM Punk
and Lance Archer, you're absolutely right, Danny. Why the fuck are we cheering Hangman when we had Archer right there?
Punk's an interesting one because I don't think they'll boo Hangman. Unless Punk turns heel, that'll definitely be one of the ones where even if he does turn heel, that'll be one of the ones where they're just both getting cheered the entire time.
Tell that to Eddie Kingston.
Ha!
No, Eddie was heel and he was getting cheered, but he was kind of right in that feud.
Yes.
Was Eddie heel? I think he was just pissed off.
So he's.
I think that's just Eddie's state of being. Yeah. All right. Let's move off to this. Yeah, we talked a lot about it, so we'll just jump back real one segment before, and we had the Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley with one William Regal against the Workhorsemen, who were JD Drake and Anthony Henry. Anthony Henry was new to me, but cool. Interesting note I saw at the beginning of the match, both Danielson and Regal came out of the heel tunnel. Regal following Danielson. And then when Mox came down, he kind of made a move towards the face corner and then had to turn around to go back to the heel I didn't know if that was intentional or if he was just being Moxley and just wandering around as he is wont to do. But you know, it was a good match. Like Danielson and Moxley were always going to win. They made quick work of these dudes. I thought it was cool. Moxley was still selling his knee, I think, from Sunday, as you know, so good ring psychology. And then after the match, Mox and Brian dap up. We had Tony Schiavone back into the ring. Like I said, he was all over the fucking place tonight. And then they gave Regal all of the time. James, he gave a very emotional promo about coming to America, having not only Schiavone help him, but meeting Brian and everything that happened with him, and then meeting Moxley and everything that happened with him. And then ended with, you know, if you come up against up, you better step up or you're going to get stepped on.
Great line. Great line. Super happy to see Regal. Super happy that Regal got that reaction. But guys, I'm going to turn heel a little bit.
Do it.
I'm going to turn heel a little bit.
Ugh.
I didn't really love the promo. I love that he had his moment to, you know, bask in the glory of AEW. Sorry, Keith Lee. I'm going to take that for a second. But it kind of just, it felt like a guy who was very used to having scripted promos all of a sudden going unscripted for the first time in years. And he needed to find that, like that line back, you know, like he went really far and he needed to get reeled back in a little bit. But I love the emotion. I loved a lot of what he said. I understand that they broke the kayfabe with him and Tony having that moment, him crying in the ring. It's a touching moment. But Nick, you said it. He came out through the heel tunnel. Like they're most likely going to be a heel group with, like, I guess, a tweener Moxley. Let's see how long that goes. But I don't know. It sent a really weird message. I don't know what this group is. I don't know if Moxley is going to stay a babyface. I don't know if Brian is going to stay a heel. I don't know if they're just going to run through everybody. I don't know. But I'm intrigued. I love every man involved. And they've more than earned me waiting to see what comes next. They more than earned the time to not have a snap judgment. And either way, this was a great match. Brian decimating in the ring, Moxley hitting that paradigm shift on the outside. It was great. And just let's give some credit. JD Drake looked good. Anthony Henry looked good. I hope to see more of them as a team. They seem really intriguing. And yeah, good segment.
Yeah, I think they just gave Regal the floor and just like say what you want to say. And he's, you know, decided to say what he probably wanted to say for quite a few years now, you know, and just, you know, actually bask in the adoration of the crowd. And not that he hasn't been able to do that in NXT, but this is a little bit different now. This is a professional wrestling company and it's what he loves. You know, so I thought it was nice, even if it was a little bit rambling there, Chad, like it was just still a nice moment. And then I think probably in the weeks to come, he'll be a little more heelish and, you know, back to the old brass knuckles type of William Regal.
Speaking of heels, I'll put the cap on. Everyone relax, number one. James, was this match great?
No, it wasn't great.
I think you said it was great. No, it wasn't
good.
Great.
It was good. It was good.
It served its purpose.
It was cool. I'll say it was cool. However, I think what made it better was just seeing Mox and Brian together as a tag team. I think that took everything else and made it better, because I'm with you. The Regal promo was kind of long-winded and unnecessary after a point, and the match was just all right. I think just seeing Mox and Brian together, period, did what it was supposed to do. That was the spark, and it ends there for me.
Yeah,
I get you.
No, I agree. Like, I kind of agree. Regal got a little lost in the sauce there about halfway through. Like, he spent more time talking about Brian and he did like 15 seconds. I'm like, oh yeah, then I met Moxley 11 years ago and gave him like a sentence and a half. So I think he got a little lost in the sauce, and then at some point somebody probably went, yo, like, come on, bud. We're 1 o'clock here.
They had Kane and Mr. T come out to let him know that the promo's going on a little too long. Come on, that is a Hall of Fame reference right there.
No,
Nick.
I knew. I don't really watch the Hall of Fames, but
no,
I got you. Nah, it's not my speed. I watch the highlights. I don't watch the fucking NFL or Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And
I appreciate the honesty.
Like, I know who goes in, and then I watch the highlights of the speech, and then I watch Ray Lewis like wipe off all of his hair because it's painted on, and then and that's it. Whatever.
Awful.
But Danny, what did you think of the match and the promo?
You guys are all wrong. This was great. The match was, as long as it needed to be because they're facing absolute jobbers. So, what do you expect? Like anything more than that? It would be bad, actually.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What's happened? But I thought they looked great. I was just so nice seeing Regal. And I've already said it, but like I was cracked up when he was talking about Brian for like 5 minutes straight, praising him. And he was like, and then I met you 11 years ago. And together, these two.
he called Brian like one of the best wrestlers in the world. And then there's this sadistic person right here.
He was like, I actually don't know him that well, but we did work in the same place at one point. So, and Moxley wasn't even part of NXT, so he doesn't have that connection that we do. But, I liked the promo besides the fact that it went on a little too long. You could tell he got a little tripped up. Like he distracted himself. He got off track and then he forgot where he was or where he was going, and it took him a while to get it back. But it was just nice hearing him like talk honestly and get emotional and enjoy being with Tony again. And hell, I just enjoy hearing people praise Bryan Danielson. So I enjoyed that. And yeah, I'm still looking forward to this the most out of pretty much everything going on in the show. So, despite any of its flaws, it's kind of my favorite thing on the show. I'm not gonna lie. So, I thought it was really good and still exciting especially for whatever's gonna happen next with them.
If JBL were here, he would call this Bizarro World because Chad and I turned heel and Danny leaned face.
It's only because it's Brian, literally. That's all.
And
watch his take on the rest of the show.
And I'm doing my best to say
he couldn't even deny it.
All right, let's move on here. So we had after that Dark Order Hangman segment, we had a quick Wheeler Yuta versus Pac match. I only had 2 quick notes on this. One, I thought it was cool that Excalibur mentioned it was a standby match in case the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match didn't go the full 60, which it obviously didn't. And Wheeler Yuta looks better every time I see him out there. So that it was a good quick match. Pac won by submission with the Brutalizer, and they got a couple of extra guys on TV, and we move on. Then there was the Cole Red Dragon Bucks promo that we already mentioned. And then coming back in from commercial, we had a very quick but very important FTR backstage promo.
Yeah.
Marvez asked FTR what their plans were after losing back-to-back Battle Royales, whether it was to go for the titles or to try to get revenge on some of the people who had eliminated them in those Battle Royals. And Dax was saying, something about like, it's important to his family that he goes and gets revenge. And Tully stops him. I don't know why I wrote Arn in my notes. Thank God I didn't say that. Tully stops him and he goes, no, we're here. This is AEW. We're here for championships. To which Cash goes, no, this is about family and you're not family. You're fired. And the Pinnacle is dissolving in front of our very eyes. But for like what felt about 90 seconds tops of a promo, James freaking Tully Blanchard got fired. That's ridiculous.
So I will say Tully's stance on family really explains why Tessa Blanchard is such a piece of shit.
Jesus.
I
feel like what else needs to be said? That was
right.
Nothing.
And maybe Tully is gonna go try to be the dad. No, I'm not gonna take it too far. But Tully is
no, James.
Maybe he's done. Maybe
further.
He's done.
Please.
No,
come on.
Karma will get them. I don't need to.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, keeping it on point, Pinnacle was never that much of a group to begin with. They felt like they were a group that served a purpose of one storyline, and that was the stuff with the Inner Circle. And everything since then has mostly just been MJF with Sean Spears, or MJF with Wardlow, or Wardlow with Sean Spears. FTR sometimes shows up and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot you guys are with them. But I really feel like, for all intents and purposes, Tully wasn't being wasted with FTR because he brought out a great side of them and he worked with them so well. But I would love to see a different dynamic here. I don't know if this is a face turn for FTR, because the truth is we've never seen them as baby faces. This would be completely new territory for them. And who knows what this means for Tully. I mean, what Tully said wasn't really all that wrong either. Like, I know it was busting his balls because fuck Tully, but he's right. Like, this should be about being professional. It's not like I don't think anybody did anything wrong to FTR's family. Like, I don't think Cash and Dax were like standing by as like someone was disrespecting his kids or something. But whatever, maybe this means we're getting closer to that Four Horsemen reconnection that they've been teasing for literally years at this point. But who knows? Very weird segment that came out of nowhere. And maybe it's just they realize they need more babyface teams in AEW, which I don't even know if that's true.
Yeah, but it didn't feel like they were flipping FTR.
I mean,
like, they fired a legend, and then B, they're on a revenge tour. Like, you know, and they were saying, like, I think what Dax was saying about his family was that, like, you know, in order to face them, he had to like get his comeuppance against these guys, but it didn't feel like a heel turn, or a face turn rather.
I don't know. It was a very weird segment all around, and I don't think FTR needs Tully, but I definitely think they're missing a piece that they didn't need to get rid of here.
Yeah, unless this is like a swerve of some sort, and he'll be back. Like, it's such a weird move, Danny. Essentially, something that was so compressed into that small amount of time. That seems like a much bigger deal.
Yeah, that was really jarring to watch. I left that very confused, not in a what's going to happen next sort of way, but in a why is this happening? I didn't understand. It didn't feel like a face turn. It didn't feel like a heel turn. I know they're already heels, but, you know, like, sometimes heels turn heel on other heels, you know, and it didn't even really feel like that. It just felt like FTR being babies and being like, oh, you're going to tell us we're wrong? Get out of here. Like, fuck you. To Tully, I just, like, James, I think James put it perfectly. Like, it's something, they're missing something they didn't have to get rid of. I think they'll be fine regardless, because I think FTR made Tully look better than Tully made FTR look, personally. Like, not that Tully doesn't, out of all the older men on the roster, he's one of the better ones at still cutting a coherent promo, but he didn't make them feel better. I think, if anything, so it's weird. Yeah, Pinnacle has never really been a thing. Pinnacle is Sean Spears and MJF, and that's it right now. And you know what? That's totally fine. I can't wait to see Sean Spears get squashed by Wardlow. I know that's later. We'll talk about Wardlow, but yeah, I don't know. This is weird. I don't understand why it was on the show, honestly.
Yeah, I would have saved it for next week just so there was more time. But I think the weird thing is just there is a heel or face or whatever. There is a shift, Chad, in FTR's focus, because they are all about championships. And now that they seem to be wanting to go for revenge and foregoing trying to get back the AEW tag team titles. Perhaps this shift in direction is the reasoning for. Well, I mean, obviously in kayfabe it is, but the reason for Tully getting fired, because I guess maybe him just being there constantly be like, we got to go after titles, and then being like, no, and just not doing it would be dumb on screen.
I'm with you guys. The segment was kind of out of whack. It wasn't needed. I'm thinking for my own personal fantasy conspiracy that this was actually supposed to be like just a blip on the radar to show us how healed they have been and how more healed they're going to be. I'm with you. I think they're going to go on like a revenge tour, put some eyes on them, and then hopefully, if anybody, they'll be the 2-time tag team champions. The Pinnacle not being a thing is funny because I would like the Pinnacle to be a thing, but they're kind of not a thing at the moment.
Stop trying to make the Pinnacle a thing. It's not going to be a thing.
But I mean, it goes into my fantasy conspiracy, so I need them to be a thing.
Well, we're almost at your conspiracy theory, I think. But the next segment was pretty uneventful. Something with Andrade, so I think we're just gonna skip it.
Wait.
Get it together.
This was so boring. Like,
Wait.
I
Pick me.
Chad, I love you, but if I don't go to James, you might drive over to my house.
no. Let Chad go first. It's okay.
Right,
let Chad go first.
And me second, James last.
Okay.
Actually, really quick, Chad. I'm sorry. Let me just run down what actually happened.
Yes, please do.
No, I got you. So here we go. Matt Hardy in the ring with the AHFO, the Andrade Hardy Family Office. He's joined by Private Party. He's joined by Butcher and Blade. He's joined by Andrade himself and his manservant / gimp, Jose. It's a great little bit where all of a sudden Matt Hardy has developed a conscience. He's realized, man, I've been an asshole. Maybe it's because I've been wearing a suit. Who knows? Weirder things have changed his personality. Taking a bath in a lake has done it. So he tries apologizing to everybody. He calls Andrade an asshole, which is true. And then he decides he's going to fight for his stake in the company. Andrade wants him out. Hardy's like, my boys, the Private Party, aren't going to get rid of me. We're all going to Batista this bitch. Thumbs up. I'm staying. Then what happens? They Batista that bitch. Thumbs down. Private Party turns heel on the heel Hardy, who's not a heel. He's a babyface now because this guy is here. And everybody beats up Matt. It's scary. I'm nervous. Biting my nails. What happens? Darby Allin and Sting, they come out to help even the odds, but then they forget, oh wait, the numbers still are on our side because Darby is like half the size of a person. So what happens? The epic Hardy Boy music erupts, and Nick, you could take it because I'm getting dizzy.
Breathe.
Oh my God.
You okay?
I
let him pass out.
Yeah.
Let him pass out.
I'm lightheaded, guys. I'm lightheaded.
I think all the blood rushed somewhere else. And if that doesn't go down in 4 hours, please consult your nearest physician, local medical facility. So yes, the Hardy Boys, the classic Hardy Boys theme hits. Jeff Hardy comes out to fucking JR calling him Jeffrey Nero Hardy.
That is his name, is it not? It was Jeffrey Nero Hardy.
I did not like that.
I thought it was a pretty funny touch. Well, the Nero, welcome.
He came.
I think you did.
Me too, actually.
So yeah,
we're going blue,
Jeff,
guys.
Jeff comes into the ring, helps clear house. Matt hits a twist of fate, tells Jeff to go up. Jeff hits a swanton, and then there's a bit of a stare down. Nothing too crazy, but a bit of a stare down between Darby and Sting and the Hardy Boys, who are now finally together in AEW. Chad, you can now go after all. We said we are going to start, and we didn't even let you go, but.
Okay.
Come on, the Hardy Boys are in AEW, and this is a pretty big fucking deal.
This is a pretty big fucking deal. I love Jeff. I'm excited. However,
No, stop.
James, I'm so sorry. Before Jeff came to the ring, I literally looked at the TV and said, wow, I don't like anybody in the fucking ring, Matt included. Sorry. Andrade is boring as shit. He is like watching paint dry. However, I think he did okay here, as opposed to not horrible as he always does. The whole segment was trash until Darby and Sting came out. When I saw Sting, I thought of Danny because I knew Jeff was coming.
Ha!
And
Be cool.
I thought about a time we don't want to talk about. However,
Victory Road 2011.
I said there's no way in blue hell they're going to have Jeff Hardy come out with Sting and Darby Allin, and yet they did, which made the whole segment worth everything. And I'm sorry, I'm super excited that Jeff is back. Sorry, James. Go ahead, Danny.
So I was just laughing at James's faces.
He's so upset, and I'm so sorry. I am. I love you, buddy. I do. I however, don't love you.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna be very careful with what I say.
No, don't.
I don't want anything bad to happen to James. Okay, he's on edge right now, and I think we all want him to just calm down a bit, you know. We just don't want anything bad to happen to you, James. So I'm gonna be very careful about how I approach this. This was terrible. I'm with you, Chad. This was all terrible. First of all, it started like Matt Hardy started talking as if like the story had been already playing out for like the past 5 minutes. Like he was like, "Oh, like you're trying to kick me out of the Hardy fight." Like he started his promo mid promo. Like it was weird. Everyone was bad here. Andrade was bad. Hardy was pretty bad. Matt Hardy is someone who's usually really good and creative, and I have a lot of trust in. So, you know, I'll forgive him for this like one poor promo, you know. But
it was really bad.
Yeah, it was bad. The only thing I liked was Private Party doing the thumbs down behind his back. That was nice. I don't think anyone else besides Private Party hit the emotional peak that needed to hit. I think they're the only ones who nailed it in that situation. But yeah, it's just it's a bunch. Where was the bunny? You know, why didn't she get a vote? You know, why did the Butcher and the Blade vote? They just stood there. How come their votes didn't count?
I don't think they had. I don't think they're on the board. I think the board was Andrade, Jose, Matt, and Private Party.
So only 2 people aren't on the board. That's
3 technically with Bunny.
That's terrible.
No. There's also that rookie that they have that only shows up whenever they need bodies.
Yeah,
the guys that like only on Dark or Dark Elevation, and then only appears on Dynamite when like they literally need the gang warfare.
And maybe TH2. I don't even remember.
Forgot about them.
Do they even work there anymore?
Evans had a match recently, but
like. Okay, it was nice. Hey, I'll say something nice. It was nice that they weren't in the hallway like they normally are, like in a stairwell. You know, they were in the ring for once. It's weird that this organization doesn't have an office, but you know, whatever. They have multiple board members, no office. It's kind of weird.
They are the office. It's the name. The office goes wherever they are. I'm sorry.
Are they the Andrade office now?
The Andrade fucking
the Andrade
office,
family office. I think they could think of like they'll probably maybe like El Idolo Enterprises or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So then, you know, whatever, they beat him down, like whatever. Like, why is this on TV? But then Darby and Sting come out, and you just get that feeling of like, ugh, why are they involved with these losers? Like, oh my god, you know, Like, it's just, if I know they just fought on pay-per-view, but they won, like, move on, move on to bigger and better things. They're an undefeated tag team. If anything, they should be going for the tag titles, but whatever. And then what's this dude came out? Sorry, I dropped a coin. But yeah, Jeff Hardy came out, and you know what? I'll be nice. He looked healthier than he's looked in a while. That's something nice. I said something nice. He's in better shape than when he was in WWE. I think leaving WWE just makes you get in better shape. I think that's just a rule of thumb.
Because you actually have time off.
Yeah, I mean, they have relatively lighter schedules now, so it's not as bad. But yeah, like, that was. Do I have anything else nice to say? I liked Darby's. I feel like Darby handled this the best. His stare down with Jeff was very nice because it's like looking into I'm the less famous. If MJF's the less famous Miz, I'm the less famous Jeff Hardy. Like, that's my comparison that I get.
It's because he didn't say anything.
But Darby handled this as very, very well, and I'm sure he'll make a great video essay about this at one point. And that's nice. The Jeff Hardy Darby aspect of it is intriguing. Like you said, Chad, it's weird the things there. I feel like they gotta reference it. But I don't think there's much. I don't know. You guys said earlier about you want Santana or Ortiz to win the tag titles. Now they got the Hardy Boys in the mix. You think Santana or Ortiz are gonna get pushed over them? Like, it's not good for anyone. That he's here. Like, no one in the fan base wanted this. None of the fans wanted this. No one wanted Jeff Hardy in AEW. I can't think of anyone. He's got those stupid armbands.
Somebody cut him off, please! Please!
I was waiting to see how far it could go. You look like to make a Wayne's World reference. You ever see that episode of Twilight Zone where that guy's head explodes? Like, that's what you look like.
Look, James is pink.
Hold on, I'm almost done. The armbands are really silly. Like, when you're 30 plus. It's kind of silly, It makes you look even older than you already are. That includes you, James, Like, normally I'm like, you look totally normal, James. Right now I'm like, yeah, you look really old because you have those on, Like, the same way Jeff Hardy looks older than he is because he wears shit like that. And
you didn't have him on tonight.
That's a good step in the right direction. I'm not gonna lie, I checked out a lot because, what was there to care about, But honestly, I'm not being a dick, but I don't hate this as much as I'm making it seem like. I just don't care mainly, but Hardy looks good. He looks healthier. That's good. If this leads to him putting over Darby, that's good. I still think the way he left WWE is kind of shitty and weird, and I'll wait for him to tell his full side of the story on that, and not Matt's weird. I don't like the way Matt talks to the public, but I'll wait for Jeff to explain his side of the story before I cast full judgment, but weird. I know James just turned 30, so that's why I said 30 specifically. I'm 32 and I'm wearing a pink hat, so don't take what I'm saying too late. Yeah, that's it. I feel like we got to move on. We have no more time for this.
Well, I do want to say that I agree a little bit with the segment. A little bit, like, because Andrade, to me, his character is kind of lacking right now. Like, he just tries to play like this suave, like, foreign dude, and he's, I don't know, he's okay at it, but I wish he had somebody talking for him more. His
suits are nice.
Yeah, but his shit is in the ring. Like, if you watch that triple threat on Friday, you would be excited about Andrade. If you only have ever seen him in promos, you would be like, why the fuck is this guy involved in anything?
Hey, you know what? I'll go to bat for Andrade too. I love the joke where he thinks Sting is Darby's dad. That's the best thing he's done his whole career.
That is pretty fucking funny. But I'm excited just for the Hardy Boys, the matchups they can have. I think the first guys are probably going to end up facing our Private Party, and that's going to be fun. That the Private Party really wants to face them. and they have said as much. So I'm excited for them and for that matchup. I think maybe we'll see them against the Bucks again. They face Jurassic Express for the titles. I don't think they'll win them, but it'd be cool to watch that happen as well. Like, they're gonna get one more good run, and I'm sure they'll win a bunch of matches. Maybe they win the titles at some point, but I doubt it. There's just too many other teams. But this is gonna be a good run, and it appears to be like the last run of the Hardys together like this. So if you were ever a fan of them at any point, you got to be somewhat excited.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, my old screen name had Hardy Boys in it, but I will say I'm very much looking forward to them facing the Acclaimed because I know Max Caster is gonna fucking destroy Jeff Hardy.
He might have to run a few things by Tony.
He is going to get suspended after that one.
Yep.
Sure.
He might.
All right, James, you've been quiet for a very long time. Would you like to rebut anything?
Yeah, make it quick though. We got to move on.
So, the segment itself was booty. I'm willing to admit that. It could have been done better. All that matters.
Are you okay?
I'm broken, and not in the Matt Hardy way. I'm broken inside now. That was a lot.
Was it Chad?
I hate you.
A true heel puts the blame on someone else.
I'm very happy that Jeff Hardy is in AEW. He had a monster pop. I think pop of the night.
Having the OG music helped with that too.
It's very weird to hear him come out with the Hardy music. Like I
was surprised to hear that. I did not expect that.
From what I saw on the internet, and sorry to cut you off, James. I think SRS was reporting this. It's not a WWE track. It's something they had licensed. So
yes.
AEW was able to go and license it themselves. Kind of like Bray Wyatt's music wasn't technically licensed. The Funhouse thing's not an AEW track. It's a licensed song.
Lots of commercials used it back in like the early to mid 2000s. A lot of TV shows back then used it too. So it's awesome. It's awesome. You're not wearing the armbands. It doesn't work, Nick.
I'm not 30 and I'm not wearing.
I don't know what my only crime was being happy. That's all I did.
We don't allow happiness on this podcast.
I was
tangents and happiness. None of it ever.
I think we're gonna see the Hardys versus Butcher and Blade. I think we're gonna see Matt versus Andrade, maybe Jeff versus Andrade, but whatever. I think we're definitely gonna see Jeff versus not Jeff, the Hardys versus Private Party. That could honestly be a pay-per-view match at some point. I will say, I don't know what happens with the Andrade family office now. The thing is, it's the same problem Matt had with these guys. None of them really fit the aesthetic for Andrade. Like, maybe if Private Party change how they dress a little bit, they could work with him. But like Butcher and Blade don't, like, they just should not be in that group. They should 100% probably be a part of the House of Black instead. But I don't care. All of that is secondary to the fact that Jeff Hardy is in AEW. He looks good. He looks healthy, not fat. Fuck you, Eric. And
he was fat in WWE. He's definitely not like now.
He looks good. I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. And I cannot wait. I think I flew across the country to watch Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson. I might do the same if Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin is announced at any point. I think I would go wherever I could to watch that match.
He would die during that match.
I think they both would.
Yeah, I was gonna say who.
They both would.
Which one?
I think Darby's gonna kill himself every time he jumps through the ropes. I mean, that dude's a missile. All right, we've covered this ad nauseum, mostly because James spent half of it crying. So, see, to the point where he's even taking a break. But move on here. More stuff for you, Danny. We had Swerve Strickland backstage with Shivani again, and Tony Nese interrupted him. So we're gonna get that match on Friday. I'm sure you are thrilled, Danny. Now, Chad, we finally come to what you really want to talk about. Wardlow.
This is war. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay. So Shivani made a dead sprint from backstage to the ring. And so Wardlow came out of the face tunnel and cut easily his longest promo since he's been in the company and showed, I think he had a lot more skills than at least I was expecting on the mic. So he thanked MJF for the opportunity to change his life after his poor upbringing, but he also said he won't work for somebody who disrespects him, threatens his family, or puts his hands on him. He also said that he's still under contract with MJF, but that he doesn't give a damn. He's not with the Pinnacle. He won't be watching him MJF's back. And he says if Max lets him out of this contract, he'll just wash his hands of everything and, you know, let him go. And that his focus is now on his TNT title match next week. So obviously this is all set up for the title match next week. And Chad, I know you've got a theory about this, and I want to.
It's going to be pretty short. I'm going to try to make it concise. Number one, shout out to Wardlow for speaking so eloquently earlier. I did not know he spoke that well. I just thought he was a monster who power bombed people to the sound of violins. So there's that. Number two, Wardlow, I take back everything I said before the pay-per-view. I do not believe Wardlow is winning the title now. I think we all kind of maybe can agree with that now. So on to my conspiracy. I think Wardlow loses next week due to MJF interference.
Yeah, 100% agree.
I think they offer Wardlow a contract. I mean, we all know he's contracted, but still.
Keep kayfabe.
Right, kayfabe. I think they offer him a contract. I think we hurry up and pull the trigger on MJF becoming the champion and maybe help from the Pinnacle against Hangman, whatever. However it needs to happen, it happens. And then we lead into MJF versus Wardlow for the title. The main title, not the TNT title. Not immediately, of course, but just story-wise. This is kind of what I'm seeing.
I'm going to disagree with everything after MJF costs Wardlow the title because I think this feud is
like 90% of what he said.
No, because
That's
I just think I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on MJF winning the world title in the near future, at least. I think it'll be at least a few more months.
I do also think it's going to be longer, but I'm dreaming. It's a fantasy, okay. Right?
And I just because I think this MJF Wardlow shit's going to go down now. Like, you know, well, this whole feud is going to happen within the next month or so. So maybe like down the road, like they circle back to it when MJF has the title and Wardlow takes off him. That could be cool. But we'll see where Wardlow is and how he's doing and everything. He's got to establish himself as a single star now.
As long as they give us the Hangman Kenny depth, even if this happens next year, as long as the story plays into what it should be, then I'm fine with that. I think that was my major point. I'm sorry to fast track timelines and shit.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense to me. I thought you meant with
that's really
July, and I was like,
no.
How fast is Max losing that title? Okay, no, that makes a lot more sense to me. I'd be on board with that. I really
maybe
would.
Wardlow versus MJF part 1 now, and then next year part 2,
Electric Boogaloo
for the main title.
Yeah. We're going to let James cool off a little bit more. So, Danny, what do you think of Wardlow's first real face promo?
I thought it was pretty good. Like you guys said, he was very well spoken. I thought it was silly to bring in Jeff Hardy to AEW.
All right, come on, get past the Jeff Hardy.
Sorry, that slipped out. That wasn't on purpose. But yeah, no, it was good. I don't have much to say about it. Like you guys said, I was not surprised by how well spoken he was, but just surprised by how well he was able to handle this longer promo. Because he doesn't speak much, but when he did it, he always was well spoken. But he never spoke for this long. And I don't want him to lose, not because I'm that like big of a fan, but because what's the point of the fucking ladder match if no one's gonna win the title off of it?
Oh,
Also,
true.
I mean,
spoilers, or without spoiling, I don't want the champion to have the title for long. Like,
ironically, the champion won last year's Face of the Revolution.
I know.
Match.
I know.
It took a while to get there.
So
I don't think he's lost since he lost that title match, but we'll get to that.
They say that, but didn't he?
He lost the tag match.
I had singles. I think singles
because he had like 2 of them.
Yeah, I can't.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's
anyway, yeah, that's like it was good, solid. We'll see what happens next week, even though I think we all kind of know, but it's good stuff by Wardlow.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about him like I would have been a few months ago. So.
Yeah, I think, James, while we were kind of surprised at his promo ability, maybe we shouldn't be. I mean, the dude is, he's 34, so he's been around the block a minute. Like, but, it's his first real one in AEW, so I'm looking forward to see how he does in a promo against MJF.
I mean, I think anybody against MJF, it's an uphill battle because MJF is probably the best on the stick today. I'm not that surprised by his promo ability because I've watched a bunch of his interviews and I know, like you guys keep saying, he's very well spoken and he's always been, when he speaks, he has a presence. So that's like, I'm not surprised. I'm happy that he was able to deliver and show that he's not just a meathead, that he can be a character as well. I do have to say though, something about the promo didn't really work for me. And I don't blame Wardlow at all. I just think this concept of him at all in any way trusting that MJF is just going to let him go off on his own and suffer no repercussions, it feels like a little foolish. It feels a little dumb.
Naive.
Yeah, yeah. Like, nobody has been closer to MJF throughout MJF's AEW career than Wardlow. Maybe Cody at one point, but like, yeah, what's his name? But Wardlow has been there from every moment MJF has been a heel in AEW. So why would he in any way believe that MJF would just be like, you know what? You're right. Let bygones be bygones. You go off and do your thing. Like, he just, it feels silly, and I blame I guess, like, I know there are no writers for these promos, but, like, I blame whoever, like, scripted this promo for him. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think less of the character, because maybe it's just he wants to believe MJF is going to be too scared to mess with him because he knows he could just destroy him in the ring. But I don't know. I would have done this differently. I would have had his first promo just go a little bit differently. It was a good way of building sympathy. It was a good way of getting the fans to be like, I get why he's been with this douchebag all these years. But I don't know. I would have tweaked a couple of things, but Wardlow himself killed it.
No, see, what you mentioned about him thinking Max was going to be too scared to go after him. It was a threat. It wasn't a, hey, let's be bygones thing. It was like, it was like, we can let it stand as it is, or you could come after me and you're going to get your ass kicked. He just said it in a very nice way. That was a threat. I don't think he's being naive. I think he thinks there's a good chance that Max is going to come after him, but he had to lay down what was going to happen. Should he or should he not?
But he also mentioned that he still has a contract with MJF. What has changed other than he said, I don't like this anymore? Like, what really changed for Wardlow?
Logistics.
But that's kind of why I don't like the idea of Wardlow losing next week, because if he's a champion, or like AEW has to give you a contract. Like, if you're holding one of their fucking titles, I feel like that was always going to be his out to MJF being the one in control of him. You win a title, like, you're working directly for Tony then, and like, I always feel like that was out. So him not winning and then still getting I don't like that. So I kind of agree with you, James.
I
What was
want.
that?
So I kind of agree with you about that, James.
Hallelujah.
I agree with that aspect. However, if he wins next week, which I do want him to win, I mean, I like Wardlow, I'm a fan, then that makes the last match. We'll get to it.
The last match was pointless, but
It makes
no
it
matter
even
what.
more pointless.
No
yeah,
matter
there's
what.
no. Yeah.
We'll get to it in a sec. But
Right.
Danny, I do kind of agree where like the storyline would have made sense where if he won the title, the TNT title, and then MJF tried to claim it as his own because MJF said like, "Oh, you're gonna win the title for me, bud," previously, because he's under contract with MJF, so he would basically just have to give him the title. So it would have been pretty cool if you won the title, and then MJF was like, "Okay, that's mine now," and he was like, "Nah, dude, I'm all elite," and like and then just beat the shit out of him. Like that would have been cool, but I mean, we keep teasing the main event match here, like. After that, I'm not entirely sure what's going to go on. But
because of one more thing about Wardlow,
yeah.
this is very unimportant, but it's always bothered me. So Wardlow has like a little man bun, but he has the side shaved. But he has this thing, and I know because I used to have it, where his hairline is here, but then the long hair is like an inch back. So there's like just an inch in front of his
he
man
still has like
bun.
the shape up.
The Eddie. He has an Eddie.
Yeah, and I'm just I hate that. I had it too, but it drives me crazy. Like
A
I
widow's
don't understand
peak,
that.
if you will.
It's not even that like
It's not even a widow's peak. It's literally just a gap between where his hair is short and where his hair is long. Like in the front, where normally, when you have the sides are shaved, and the long hair in the front is, like right where your hairline starts.
Yeah, it's not like Roman's. Like when Roman puts his hair up, his long hair starts right at his hairline. So I know what you're saying. I noticed it too.
Yeah, it's just one of the things like I like, and I had that too because one time at a barbershop I used to go to, my barber wasn't there, and one of the other barbers was like, "Oh, I'll cut your hair," but he didn't speak a lot of English, and he just kept asking me questions, and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever," because I just assumed it was normal haircut stuff, and he did that to my hair, and I was like, "Oh,
God, that's a nightmare. That is literally a nightmare.
A living nightmare.
And that's why you always call ahead. All right, let's move on here. We had a quick Keith Lee, QT Marshall promo. Looks like they're going to set up a thing with them. Jurassic Express versus the Acclaim for the AEW Tag Team Championship because Tony Khan was just throwing all of the matches on this fucking card. We had the Ass Boys in the crowd. Max Caster had a line about the price of gas being too high and people wanting it lowered, and I was kind of disappointed he didn't flip that into all of Luchasaurus's relatives being oiled now.
That would have been good.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking about while I was watching this match, and the match was fine. Like it was good. The Acclaimed and Jurassic Express always acquit themselves well. I did how like Tony Khan decided to have 3 championship matches right after the pay-per-view, but they're all different matchups as opposed to what WWE does when they just run everything back every time.
Yep. Chess.
So I did like that. Jurassic Express retained, like I said, a good match. I'm sure you guys have thoughts on this, but we've been going seriously long here, and I do want to try to get to the main event as quickly as possible. So does anybody have anything really quick on this, or?
It's just the Acclaim. Let's move on.
Wait, no, the Acclaim should have won.
No, fuck you guys.
I'm going to start muting you guys. I have that power, and I will start using it. Tony Reale style. Okay.
Do I want to do this? No, but do you guys not have it coming after what you put me through with Jeff?
What did we put you?
Didn't do shit.
I love Jeff.
I didn't do shit either.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chad.
All right. Then we had another backstage promo with Jade Cargill, and her and Smart Mark were once again asking not only is who's next, who's left. Also, apparently we're making Jade's kiss at death a thing, so just preemptive bonk to everybody. Then we have Thunder Rosa versus legit Layla Hirsch in the number 1 contenders match for Dr. Britt Baker's DMD's championship. We had Red Velvet come out and interfere when Layla went under the ring again for a turnbuckle piece. Thunder won with the Fire Thunder Driver. Now she gets a rematch with Britt next week in San Antonio, which is her hometown, on her birthday. This is obviously Thunder's hometown, on Thunder's birthday. And it'll be in a steel cage. So, and it's the 1 year anniversary ish of their lights out match.
God, if this was WWE, they would have her lose with a 3-second roll up.
Or just 3-second distraction roll up in the cage. But that should be a whole lot of fun. Quickly after that, Britt had a backstage promo and she brought up the fact Thunder got an eliminator match 3 days after she lost, which I think Danny pointed out earlier was pretty funny, pointing about the hypocrisy between that and Cole getting a match and the way they went about it. But that was cool. Okay. We're now at the main event. It was Sammy Guevara versus Scorpio Sky for the TNT title match. They build this as the title versus the streak because, as I teased earlier, Scorp hasn't lost in 364 days, lost a single match in 364 days. I wrote that Excalibur made a accidental inner circle vest thing, and I was going to call him out on it, but he corrected himself after he received a note, which was cool. But just a good side, nice note that Sammy had Brody Forever on his vest, which I thought was cool. So the match started pretty quickly with Sammy had a serious crash and burn through a table on the outside after he went for the 630. This prompted Ty to come out, which I believe this is their first interaction on TV together. So for those of you who don't watch Sammy's vlog, they've been dating for a while now. So all through commercial, there was the doctor checking up on him and they try to walk him out. And Sammy told him off, went back to the ring. The second Ty came out, I called what was happening here. Paige Van Zandt, who had been teasing signing a contract, was going to get involved with Ty and something was going to happen. And guess what? I was right. So the ending sequence was Sammy hit the GTH, Sky rolled under the ropes so Sammy could pin him. So Sammy dragged him out, went for the shooting star press. Scorp got the knees up. So then Lambert jumped on the apron on one side of the ring to distract the ref. Ethan Page tried to go up on the other side of the ring. Ty pulls him down. Paige Van Zandt jumps in from the crowd, throws her face first into the fucking steps. Sammy gets distracted. Scorp hits his finisher, which I think is the TKO, and which was confusing because Ty has the Ty KO and she was right there. And Scorpio Sky is now your new TNT champion. Then Sky hit Sammy with the belt. Paige Van Zandt threw Ty in the ring, hit her with some kick or something, and then signed her contract on the stacked bodies of Sammy and Ty, and literally signed it right on Ty's ass. So that was a lot. I'm out of breath. James, say words.
Weird move.
Weird move.
If this was like a year and a half ago, if this was 2 years ago, I would be really happy for Scorpio Sky. Like, there was a point where he was really hot in AEW. When he was doing the stuff with SCU, he was killing it. I remember like the massive pop he got when he came in as the replacement partner for Christopher Daniels.
And the shoe came off.
Yeah, his shoe came off. He wrestled in the street clothes. And like it was an awesome segment, and the fans were really behind him. He gave Jericho his first loss in AEW. There was a point where this guy was just on fire, and now he is just not. I don't want to be mean because I think he's a talented guy, but I have not cared about him since he turned heel. And I don't know if that's his fault. I don't know if it's the stories he's stuck with. I don't think this partnership with Ethan Page is really doing him any good. I think someone else should be in that spot instead of him. But hey, he's TNT champion. Good for him. It's an accolade that's a little past due, but the segment itself, it felt very obvious about Paige Van Zandt and Ty getting locking up soon. I don't know. I don't know. I like Lambert a lot because he's such a piece of shit and he's so good at what he does. But I other than Paige Van Zandt, I haven't cared about almost anybody that he's partnered with. Like, I like Archer. I cared about him less when he was with Lambert for some reason.
Such a weird pairing too.
I don't think he works with Men of the Year. I don't think he works with Ethan Page. I don't think he works with Scorpio Sky. America's Top Team, they didn't do enough with them for me to care about them. And Paige Van Zant is, I mean, she's something different to the group, which is why at this point is the only reason she's interesting. I don't know how she's going to do when she's on the mic. I don't know. We know she's a skilled fighter, but we don't know how that's going to translate to being in the ring. History has shown us that typically it means good things, but who knows? So this has all been very weird. I will say, as unhappy as I am that Sammy lost the title tonight, especially with what's coming next with Wardlow and everything else and MJF. If you're going to have this many title matches in less than a week, you need titles to change hands. And this is the one that made sense. You know, like I was busting the Acclaim's balls before just because of you guys, but like it would have been nice if they won the tag titles, but I don't know if they're quite there yet. Or at the very least, I don't know Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are quite there to lose the titles yet. There was no shot in hell that Dante Martin was taking it off Hangman. So this is the change that made the most sense. It's just, it probably shouldn't have happened now.
Yeah, I mean, there was 5 title matches on Sunday, and then you had another 3 tonight. So it was 8 title matches, and if you don't have any changes, that would be kind of weird. Yeah. But yeah, just awkward timing. Like, I guess now we all just think that Wardlow is going to get screwed next week, which is unfortunate. But if he doesn't, then I just think this is them throwing Scorp a bone, and he's going to be a fucking champ for a week, and it's just on his resume. But like, Danny, that seems like such a fucking waste of time.
Yeah, the TNT title has been a waste of time since what's his name lost it and left the company.
Oh, I was gonna say which time, but yeah, since he left the company.
What he said.
That was intriguing. What was gonna happen from that was intriguing. What's happened since isn't. Hey, you know what? I think Scorpio Sky being champion is kind of pointless, but if he's the guy who stops carrying 2 belts, you know what? Then he was a great TNT champion. Why the fuck is he still carrying 2 belts? It looks stupid. But whatever. You know what? I actually think it would have been, you could have done the same thing with the Acclaim winning the tag titles. They could be the transitional champion to losing it to Mox and Bryan, because I don't think Mox and Bryan are supposed to be heels. I think they're going to be a face and a heel, or end up both being faces because the crowd was cheering them like crazy today. So you could have done that there, especially that Jurassic Express had the big win at the pay-per-view where, like, that match was amazing, by the way. But yeah, I didn't get to talk about it, but it was fantastic. So yeah, obviously Hangman wasn't going to lose, but you know, at least the Acclaimed are like an overact, whereas like Men of the Year just aren't. And Scorpio and Ethan are like really nice dudes, but like they're just not over. And like I agree with you what you said about Lambert. It's like Lambert's actually better than his whole group, and it's like he should be with someone better. I don't know, someone who is believable, who wins matches. Like, I don't know, Miro or someone. Like, he should be with an upper mid-carder who wins matches. Like, that's a better use of Lambert. He's a better manager than 95% of the people you got there. The match was like fine. I did not like this. I don't know. I feel like Wardlow should still win next week, and this should just be a what? Because otherwise, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this.
Yeah, I think my concern now is let's assume Wardlow loses next week and gets screwed out of the title. I think this title is going to be wrapped up in maybe
garbage.
Well, no, I was going to say, like, maybe the Paige Van Zant's high stuff just isn't Paige Van Zant's high stuff, and we end up like with some sort of like mixed tag with Sammy and Scorpio Sky, like, which sounds, I mean, they both could happen, but I just don't need the title around that feud. Like, it just seems kind of stupid to me, Chad.
Okay. Oh, man. Okay, this was trash for me. Everything you guys said was cute, cool. I haven't seen anything from this Scorpio guy that you have seen. So to me, this was an utter waste of time. I hated it. I'm not okay with this, as Danny said. I don't think Wardlow is going to win next week, so I'm super not okay with this. If he does win, I'm going to be less okay with this because I feel like it might be WWE brain, but I feel like the title is like tainted now, and that bothers me because I had such high hopes for it. I'm a Sammy fan. I don't know.
I would say, like, that you brought up WWE. This is literally the equivalent of like Ricochet just winning the Intercontinental title out of nowhere when he never wins matches on TV, and now he's
Sami
Intercontinental
Zayn
champion.
winning randomly the week before and just
Well, Sami Zayn makes sense because he's at least on TV every fucking week, and
but him not keeping it makes
yeah.
So, like just it taints the minor title for me. I'm with Danny. I hate that 2 title shit. That was ridiculous. I hope this stops now, and
they'll stop it. I feel like they tend to give the last title to the guy who had it, and then they usually get a new one for the new champions. But so I mean, Sammy said in his vlogs, he was like, they're like, people keep complaining you're carrying the 2 titles. He's like, did you see the fucking match I had for them? I'm keeping both of them. No, I think Chad, just to your point, like they literally used the title just to create a Paige Van Zandt feud. And I think that's what was bad about this. Like the title shouldn't be used to create other feuds in that way, especially when they're going to be so disconnected from the title.
Right. I agree.
If I could just, I'm going to try to be optimistic about this and say,
of course,
none of us were happy when Sammy won it back in the first place. Like we were surprised because we were shocked that Cody would drop it so quickly. But it was one of those things that we knew how messy this title scene was for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a lot of that is attached to Sammy being the champion. I don't necessarily think that's his fault, but I do think people associate the messiness with him. So if to get it off him, they do this one last messy bit where you have a week-long reign and then have Scorpio drop it to Wardlow, you establish a lot. One, you establish that Sammy probably only lost it because he was hurt from the pay-per-view. He had a lot of outside interference, and he still looks good. Two, you establish Scorpio Sky as a former champion. He's one of just a couple of guys in the company who have won multiple championships.
Yeah, I think JR pointed out. JR at Excalibur.
Well, he's the only guy that holds the tag and the TNT.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Hangman and Kenny held the tag and the world titles.
Yeah. And you also establish that anything can happen in a title match now. We've grown accustomed in AEW to having long title reigns. Even the shortest of title reigns wasn't a blink and you miss it title reign. And I don't want that all the time, but to have something shocking happen, it's not the worst thing in the world. And if you're getting it out of the way, get it out of the way now with a guy like Scorpio Sky. So I think if Wardlow wins it next week, he needs to hold on to that belt for a while. And I think he needs to go through a lot of opponents. I'm not saying we need another Cody Rhodes open invitation kind of thing.
Who?
I'm sorry. What's his name? Open invitation kind of thing. But Wardlow needs to go through. Like, I want to see Wardlow versus Miro. I want to see Wardlow versus Keith Lee. I want to see Wow, I really am going for the meaty men. I want Wardlow versus
Powerhouse Hobbs.
Damn it! I'm trying to get away from it. Jungle Boy.
Ricky.
I see your point on that, but I don't want that because those also sound like people besides maybe Hobbs, because not yet, but sounds like people I want to beat him,
That's
for the
fair.
title.
Yeah, I want Lee to get the title, so I'd keep him away if Wardlow got it for at least a little while.
And I do agree, but I think you need those prime matchups for that title to feel important again. I think you need big matchups, and I don't know that either of Sammy's reigns really had that. Like, granted, yeah, Cody, sure. Like the ladder match was great, but
so good.
It was so muddled too. So I don't know. I just need a lot of good, strong matchups. Doesn't matter who.
Yeah.
trying to think of good Sammy matches now. The triple threat was awesome. I'm going to keep saying that.
I'm not saying he didn't have good matchups, but
they weren't very prestigious.
He defended against Tony Nese.
Who?
Yeah.
He defended
the guy facing Swerve on Friday.
he defended a pre-Red Dragon Elite setup Bobby Fish.
Exactly. Those are two different people. Don't keep that in mind. Bobby Fish now is not the same as Bobby Fish who first debuted in AEW.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I like Bobby Fish now that he's back with his friends. Yeah.
He was literally used for a while as the new guy signed. You're going to fight for a title.
Yes, Jay Lethal, and I love Jay Lethal, but like none of it mattered. None of it mattered. So I don't know. I if it's Scorpio Sky holding on to it for a while, cool. Don't be involved in this. The same thing happened with Sammy. He got involved in the friggin' America's Top Team stuff, and he never defended the friggin' title.
Yeah, that ate up so much of his first reign.
I need a lot of title defenses. I need a lot of them.
Yeah. I guess to end on some sort of a positive note, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what Paige Van Zandt does, because I am a UFC fan, so it's going to be
all excited for her.
Yeah, I know, but I'm very interested to see how she is in the ring and like what they end up doing with her and stuff like that. No, I dead ass. I mean that legit. Like, I actually want to watch her in the ring and stuff. And yes, also bonk, but like I really do want to see how she performs. But also, hey, shout out Dan Lambert, got to win today after Masvidal got his ass kicked on Saturday. So God, I fucking hate Colby Covington. But on that note, we've got super long tonight, but this was a jam-packed, fast-paced episode of Dynamite. So if you stuck around this entire time, thank you so much for A, sticking around, B, jailing with James is crying, and C, watching the Market Down podcast. So be sure to like and subscribe so we can make James cry more when he has to rap and dye his hair green when we get to 100 subscribers. If you want to follow us on social media, they'll be in the description below within the next couple hours or so if you watch this back. But thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week here